Hi everyone, I'm back for my April TBR with the Magic Hat, which has had some technical difficulties in the past few months, so we've outfitted it with this little cone I made from a, mailing envelope. Not envelope, this is a package, a piece of packaging, whatever. Anyway, so this is going to fit in here and hopefully, prevent my little slips of paper from getting stuck down there. This solution was suggested by Kaylee Reeds, so thank you very much to them. I didn't do exactly what they suggested, but hopefully this will still work. We'll find out. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, every month I ask viewers to comment on my TBRs and suggest a book for me to put in the Magic Hat for the next month. And then I will do a drawing and pick a couple of things for my TBR from this hat. So it's basically just, a TBR jar or another randomization system, except I'm using a sorcerer's hat, which is honestly pretty inconvenient. Before I actually draw anything from the hat, I'm just going to go over what we're adding to the hat for this month, which is stuff that was suggested by my viewers, mostly on my last TBR, and then also a couple from the last month. So first we have Penrick's Demon, which is a novella by Lois McMaster Bujold, who is one of my favorite authors. This was suggested by Francois Bouchard. So I'm really happy that they suggested this because I have been meaning to read this novella series. It's set in the same world as The Curse of Chalian and Paladin of Souls, which are books I really love. I love Bujold in general. I've mentioned this before, guys. I'm not the greatest at novellas. I tend to stay away from them. So there are a bunch of novella series that I've been meaning to start and I don't get around to it. I tend to go to more full-length novels. So I'd be very excited to draw that one. I have a science fiction book called Behind the Throne, which is the first in a series by K.B. Wager, I think is the author's last name, and this was suggested by Teresa. It looks like it's supposed to be kind of a fun science fiction adventure, so that sounds pretty cool. And then Charlene Gibson suggested that I read Tess of the Dubervilles. I think that's how you say that. That's by Thomas Hardy. I know it's a classic. I don't know really anything about the plot. I'm sure I've looked it up before, but this is one I have never read and didn't really intend to read, so I think that would be a pretty entertaining pick. I have been reading a few classics, although I'm mostly doing science fiction and fantasy, so yeah, we'll see if I end up picking that one. And then Kaylee Reeds, who also suggested the hat trick, suggested Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. The only thing I've read by Ray Bradbury is Fahrenheit 451, which I was, kind of neutral on, I guess. But Kaylee Reed said that this is dark fantasy. I think this might be part of a plot to get me to read more horror eventually. So yeah, I don't know about that, but happy to read dark fantasy, and this sounds pretty interesting. So those are the 4 books suggested by viewers that I'm putting in the hat for this month. If you guys have anything that you think I should try reading, just comment down below with that, and I'll add it into my next TBR hat. So before I draw from the hat, I'll just go over the stuff I'm adding to my own TBR, straight up, no randomizing for next month. First of all, we're going to do book 4 of The Wheel of Time. I still am working on The Dragon Reborn, but I really am planning to finish it either today or tomorrow, so that should work out. I'm a little bummed that I ended up getting this in hardcover. I went to the used bookstore because I really don't like the new Wheel of Time paperbacks. They're really skinny and they don't stay open, and I read Eye of the Worlds as that, and it was just annoying. So I've been trying to get the older paperbacks, but they didn't have a paperback of The Shadow Rising. I'm starting to forget the titles. There's too many of them. So I ended up getting this in hardcover, and I've tried not to be too obsessive about edition collecting. It's something I didn't used to care about at all. But is it going to bother me that I'm now going to have 3 different Wheel of Time editions on my shelf? Yeah, probably. But that being said, planning to read this next month. I'll do my usual thing, which is I'll do a spoiler vlog as I'm reading it, and then I will do a non-spoiler review afterwards. For those of you who haven't been following my Wheel of Time journey stuff, my best friend really loves the Wheel of Time, and I promised her that I would read the entire Wheel of Time this year if she would read the entire Cosmere. So far, I'm 2 books into the Wheel of Time, and she has read Elantris. So far, I'm winning. I think actually Wheel of Time has more books, though. We're probably both behind. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Okay, next in April, I want to read The Mask of Mirrors by May Carrick. I talked about this recently in my 5-star predictions video. I heard so many good things about this book that I bought it as a new release, which I almost never do I almost never buy new releases unless it's a series I'm following or an author I really love. So I figured since the whole reason I bought this is because I was excited to read it and I didn't want to wait to get it from the library and I wanted to have it physically, I really ought to just go ahead and read it. So this is, I think, an epic fantasy. Apparently it's pretty, dense and lots of characters, pretty substantial, a lot of politics. I think the main character is a con artist. So I'm looking forward to trying this one. I heard so many good things about it. I hope my expectations aren't too high, but I think this will be a fun read. And then I've also been talking about starting the Long Price Quartet Forever. I think these individual books aren't really that long because there's 4 in here, right? Let's see. But yeah, it's only like a 200-page book. The first one is A Shadow in Summer. So I'm really excited to try this series. This was also in my 5-star predictions video. And I mean, for those of you who haven't really watched my channel before, I don't actually give star ratings on my YouTube videos, but even so, I did a 5-star predictions video because it seemed like a fun thing to do. There's just a couple of other things I want to make sure to get to in April. I have this problem with TBRs where I usually pick about 10 books for my TBR, and I usually read about 10 to 12 books, but I also have this habit to go wildly off TBR about halfway through the month. So I really should just pick fewer books for my TBR, but I just can't restrain myself. So either I have to read more books in the month or I don't know. Anyway, I'm doing my best. I'm planning to pick 10 books today. I have 6 on my own list, and I'm going to pick 4 from the hat. So hopefully I'll actually get all those read in April. I did pretty good in March. Oh wait, that's because I didn't do a TBR in March. I was doing cleanup for my February TBR. Anyway, hopefully I'll do better in April. So I have one thing to add to my TBR that I have been meaning to read for an embarrassingly long time, and I don't know why I'm procrastinating on this, but I still haven't read Ruin by John Gwynne, which is the 3rd book in the Faithful and the Fallen. A lot of other people who were reading this series, I saw they've gotten to book 3, book 4. I honestly like this series. It's not my favorite. Like, I'm not loving it as much as some people, but I'm really enjoying it. And it's been like months since I read book 2. I don't know what my problem is. I really have to get Ruin read this month. So I'm putting it back on my TBR, even though it feels like a little bit of a lost cause. But I swear, I genuinely do want to read it. I haven't yet. And I have it from the library right now. So I just need to do it. Another book that I just got from the library that I'm excited about and heard some good things about is The Conductors by Nicole Glover. This is a new release. It's kind of a historical fantasy set during the Civil War. I think there are main characters who were conductors on the Underground Railroad, and then they have to solve some sort of supernatural mystery. So I thought this sounds like a really interesting thing to read. I haven't read too much historical fiction set with this theme and during this time, so I have high hopes for this one. I think it could be really cool. And the last thing I'm putting on my own TBR for April is The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers. I have this one as a digital ARC. It's going to be the last book in her Wayfarers series. I have kind of mixed feelings about this series, but I requested the ARC because I still, was excited to see how this book was. So book 1, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, I hope I got that title right. That book I really enjoyed, but it genuinely has no plot, which I'm generally fine with. But for those of you who like having a plot, that might not be the book for you. But it is just a very sort of slice of life, lots of different aliens and cultures and things like that. Crazy crew on a spaceship going through experiences and you get to know them. And I don't know, there's something very nice about it and I overall really enjoyed it. It just wasn't maybe my favorite thing ever. Then book 2, A Closed and Common Orbit, I really, really liked. It was a bit more tightly focused. It still wasn't the plottiest thing that I've ever read, but it was more tightly focused on a couple of characters. It had some interesting discussion of artificial intelligence and humanity, and the arcs that characters go on were a little bit more substantial. So I thought that was a really, really great book. And then book 3, I was forgetting the title, but I think it's Record of a Spaceborne Few. I really did not care for that one at all. It was back to being incredibly plotless, which again, I feel like that's the style of this series, is very sort of not plot driven. So I shouldn't be too critical of that. But for whatever reason in book 3, it just didn't work at all. So book 4 is supposed to be the last one, based on the track record from the previous 3. Either I will enjoy it, love it, or hate it. So, we'll find out. So those are the 6 books that I'm putting on my own TBR for April, and now I'm planning to pick 4 more from the hat. So in here I have the 4 books that I just read to you at the beginning of the video, and I have a few things submitted by friends and family from the previous months. My best friend, A, she has now, I think, including one for today, she has 3 books that she's put into the hat, and I have not picked a single one yet. So she's probably feeling a little bit cursed. She has a 33% chance that one of her books will get chosen, or a 33% chance that I will pick one of her books in the first draw. I don't know. Guys, I always try to do statistics and it doesn't go very well. But her books are 1/3 of this hat now. So if I don't pick one today, she can rest assured this really is a conspiracy. Not by me, but by the hat. My husband put something in. He usually goes a little, I don't want to say like sassy with his recommendations, but the last thing he had me read was Range, which was a book that he knew my father had been trying to get me to read for years, and he thought it would be kind of funny if he put that in. And I have one recommendation in here from our friend Daniel. The last thing I read that he recommended, well, he hadn't read it yet, but the last thing he had me read was The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss. So he has something else mysterious in here. I have no idea what he picked. So we have 4 things from viewers and then 5 things in here that my friends suggested, but I don't know what they are. So I'm going to go ahead. My husband had some idea for how to shake this. I'm just going to mix things up. The shaking feels like it's not really working. I'm trying to mix this. All right. Ta-da! Prompt number 1. Oh, yes. From my best friend, Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. Mantel? Okay, so I finally got one of hers. She should be very happy. Wolf Hall is a book that I've always been kind of interested in. I think it's about the life of Thomas Cromwell. If I'm correct, I'm gonna look that up real fast. Yeah, I was right about that. It is Thomas Cromwell. So this will be set, I guess, in the time of King Henry VIII. And I think it's a fictional biography of Thomas Cromwell, but also I think it's supposedly written in a very literary style. And I think it's the first one. I think the author did a few of them. So anyway, this should be an interesting read. All right. I don't think that did anything. I'm gonna mix them. Okay, I think it's working better with the cone in here than I was working before. Okay, we got Teresa's suggestion, Behind the Throne by KB Wager. That's cool. I really like, something I've really been enjoying about doing these TBR Magic Hat recommendation things is I'm getting books that I never even heard of before, and now I have to read them. So, should be fun. Okay, we got Penrick's Demon by Lois McMaster Bujold, and this is the one that was recommended by Francois Bouchard. That's awesome. I was really hoping for that one, honestly, because I've been intending to read this novella series for a really long time, and it's supposed to be really good, so that should be fun. All right, guys, we're down to one more. It's been kind of a nice mix so far. I decided I was going to stop putting my own prompts and recommendations into the hat because I just kept not being happy with the outcome when I did that. So yeah, this is only from other people now. We have another one from my best friend, A Hero Born by Jin Young. So this is actually a book she found out about from me because I keep talking about wanting to read it on the channel. And then she just read it and she actually really, really liked it. So I know this is the beginning of a really best-selling, really well-known Chinese, I don't know, it's not exactly fantasy, but it's like a Chinese epic story. I think it started being serialized in the 1960s or something like that, but it's being translated now to English for the first time. So I think I talked about this in a few videos recently. I definitely put it in when I ranked first paragraphs of books I hadn't read and like ranked them by their first paragraphs. So good. This is one I've definitely been wanting to get to. I think I also put it on my 21 to read in 2021. That's still hard to say. I think I put it on that video. So yeah, I've obviously been talking about this a lot. So now I finally have to read it. And now I have picked 2 of her recommendations in 1 month, so she doesn't have to feel neglected anymore. Okay guys, thanks for watching the Magic Hat TBR draw. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything you want me to put in the hat for my May TBR. I am very open to suggestions. Any genre is fine. I don't really do horror and I don't really do YA, but you know, I will consider anything you put. If it's something I don't have a really strong objection to, I'll put it in. Like, I'm not going to be super picky. I'm trying to let you guys pick. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great April reading month.